Good afternoon, viewers, and welcome back to the East Manchester Experiment. I was sort of thinking about not doing any more videos for this series, I have to admit. I really do feel like this is fading out now, and I'm starting to wonder whether I won't bother with another season. Haven't yet quite ruled it out, but I may not bother. It rather depends on a few things, mainly timings of various updates and things. Here we are. The reason why I've decided to come back for this game is simply because it's the next game I'm going to play. I've found it real chore this week playing Football Manager for the first time in my life. It's just been hard work. And I just thought what I'd do is use the rest of these games as just really an opportunity to fiddle around a little bit, tell you what I'm thinking in terms of my tactical approach for the next game. I know that the match engine is likely to be a bit different, but I still need to be thinking ahead to my main Football Manager save for 2020, which will be starting fairly soon. Basically what I'm going to do is spend a bit of time talking through my tactics, and then I'm going to walk through a full game, really thinking about all the decisions I'm making, everything that's going on, and how it's actually taking up the pitch. So I'm probably not going to need to edit this video at all. That's the plan anyway. So if you do hear sort of any straggly coughs or anything like that, I do apologise, but I'm going to try and just take you through the exact game as I'm playing it, and you will see sort of my thought processes behind it. I'm sort of thinking aloud throughout the whole video. So this is my team at the moment. I'll come back to that in a second. These are the tactics that I'm currently using. These are the tactics I used for most of my first few seasons. I did then switch to this for a while, and that was actually the formation that did get me promoted. Although I was starting to think about moving back towards this even then. And obviously, with the new league coming up, I just felt that was just the best thing to do. So at the moment, I've got my goalkeeper set to defend. I've sometimes had this guy on a super keeper because I've often had goalkeepers that suit it, but I just feel that in the lower levels that's a bit unnecessarily risky. My fullbacks, I generally have them on no-nonsense fullbacks unless they are particularly good as fullbacks. So this guy, for example, is clearly much better as a fullback, so I've played him there, still defensively, so it's probably fairly similar really. A no-nonsense fullback is probably fairly similar to a fullback on defend. And my thinking was, if he was much better suited to that role, I might as well do that. Am I completely wrong there? Is that are these two positions so different that actually I should be thinking more carefully about whether to use them in one position or another? I don't know. Answers on a postcard. And when I say answers on a postcard, in this video, I really do mean it. Except I mean it in the comment section, please, because this is the point where I really want some feedback. My central defenders, I've got them at the moment on defender and stopper. I'm not sure about it, but this is at the moment what I've had. I've often had them on both on central defend before, but I feel like having that stopper has its uses, particularly when I haven't got a defensive midfielder. It just means that I have that defender pushing up a bit and able to perhaps stop a few more attacks in their tracks. In the central midfield, I've got again defensive and an attacking one. I have been known to change this one around using the various other ones, but at the moment I feel like just playing it very, very simple, defence and attack. The other option, of course, is just to go to a support on the central midfielder, but I tend to find there's a big hole in the middle of the sort of this gap between the strikers and the midfielders if I do that. So I just want to push one of the strikers a bit further forward, and Ryan Smith is actually so well suited to that it really works quite well. His passing in particular is a joy to behold. I then have the wingers both on support. I've sometimes had them on attack before, particularly in this formation. These two, it's really just a case of they both suit being on support rather than attack. But because I've got the fullbacks on defend, I do feel like I could have them on attack if I wanted to, but it's working perfectly fine there at the moment. You've seen before, wingers have been probably my most productive areas, really. And then up front, I talked about before, I tend to have one of a few different combinations. Either a target man with a pressing forward, seems to work quite well. Sometimes I find a poacher with a target man is quite useful as well. I think I could sometimes be persuaded to play a poacher and a pressing forward, but generally having a target man I think is quite a useful thing to have. Are there any other combinations that work well? You tell me again. I've really just been thinking about who's been best for each one, really. And actually, with that in mind, Troy Whitcomb really should be a poacher, so I'm going to change into that. Poacher and target man seems a nice traditional way of doing it. The pressing forward obviously is a little bit more modern. I have a couple of players in my team who are definitely suited towards that, which is why sometimes it is pressed that. I don't know quite why it's put onto that originally. That's a strange one. But either way, what combinations work well for you? Poacher and Target Man seems to work quite well. But the thing is with these players, they're just so good that it's hard to really tell what combinations are working well, whether it's just the players are very, very good. Because obviously Whitcomb and Joanne Smith, two very, very good players in this side. Okay, so those are the tactics. Oh, and in terms of the team instructions, obviously we generally go with positive. I tend to do that changes in game a little bit. At the moment, I've got this on more direct. I don't like to do that, but I just feel that the skills of this team are such that it needs to be. I have the attacking width on fairly narrow, mainly because I tend to find we get attacked on our flanks too much if I don't do that. Attacking wise, I'd probably like to have them quite wide, but it doesn't really suit the defensive shape of the team, I don't think. The other thing I've always done in this save, because I noticed it was working against us, is this distribute over opposition defence. It seems to me to work fairly well, and I do get a fair number of goals using that. But it might be that there are some elements that might mean that that's costing us in other ways. So again, it's a case of you tell me. And the goalkeeper does take long kicks, just because at this level I think that's probably the right thing to do. Our defensive line is quite low because the pace in the defence is not great, so I don't want to push up too much and get caught behind. But I want my strikers pushing up high line engagement, and that's really useful. And that's partly why I want one of my midfielders on attack, because otherwise there's a big risk of these gaps here just being too big. I want to press them a bit. I don't stop the goalkeeper distribution just because I feel like they probably don't do it very often anyway, and it just seems a bit of a waste of energy when I know that my players aren't as fit as I'd like them to be. So those are my my tactics at the moment. Again, if there's anything else you need to see, please do let me know. And we will then be able to see how that kind of plays out in this game against a team that's roughly at our level, I would say, and that's partly why I thought this would be a good game to do. So we're going to go and play this game now. Tunde Bayode has not been training very well, and he's also dropping, so I'm actually going to drop him at the moment. He's not playing well enough to warrant staying on the side. Get Moran back into the side. And you can see that I've got him on no nonsense fullback because that's my default. The replacement Bayode had been put on fullback, but that was just because he suited that position quite well. With Ben Johnson, he doesn't look brilliant in any of those positions, so it's fine. So here we go. I'm going to proceed to the match. What you may have noticed I haven't done really is look at my opponents particularly. I don't tend to do it just because I don't really know how to do it well, and there are some obvious things that I know I could do, which probably I should do. But generally speaking, I don't really know what adaptations to my team are going to work well. And anyway, I feel like often if you fiddle around with a team like that, it's going to play around with their familiarity. And that just seems to me to be counterproductive. If there are ways that it works, please let me know. But it's something that I very, very rarely do because I just worry that it will fiddle with my tactics and how they're working well at the time, assuming they are working well at the time. At the moment, I'm pretty happy with this season. Really, if you think about it, to be mid-table after a promotion is not a bad thing. So I'm pretty pleased with that. I'm always pretty positive here. Always go with these. I have faith in you. Teams seem to be absolute gold mines. If you get the players trusting you a bit, you can often get those full green bars, which is terrific. So here we go then. We're playing against Marine in this game. Nice long pitch, which is, I've noticed at this level it's much more variable. One thing I should say is if I have my penalty bug, which I'm hoping will not be present in FM20, I will do another game. But the tactics will remain exactly the same, so I don't really need to talk you through that again, but I will do another game if that happens. I have the shots thing here really just to see how the game's going. It's just another way of seeing that. Generally, with my assistant's advice, I tend to take it most of the time. I sometimes think, well, at this level, should I be doing that, given that my staff aren't that great? But I just feel like they're better than me. So if they're better than me, I might as well take their advice. When I say they're better than me, it's just that I don't really know what's going on in the game. So particularly when I don't see it, because obviously I only watch it on highlights. Is there something massive to be gained from watching more highlights? I don't know. I've got it on key highlights at the moment. I don't really want to go any higher than extended, but I could be persuaded on extended if anyone thinks it would be helpful. I don't have the time to be playing games in even comprehensive really. I want to be getting through games at a reasonable pace, particularly if you're going to be wanting videos. Well, I will be wanting to do videos fairly regularly. I'm going to try and make a decision soon about the regularity of this. I think I'm struggling a little bit with the daily ones, and I may end up going to something like 4 or 5 times a week. maybe 5. I think one on each of the weekend days, and then Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I think would be realistic, and it would just take a little bit of the pressure off. And that obviously was a very dull first half. There were chances, but only the one clear-cut one. I don't now look at the analysis just because I don't know what to look for. I mean, if there's something I should be looking for, then please do let me know. And obviously, I realise that I could look at this occasionally and see something very glaring at me, and I'm sure I would do it sometimes. But I just feel like it wouldn't happen not often enough for me to make it worth it. If there's something that I should be looking for in every game, then please do let me know if that's something that can help me in my quest for glory in my next game. Of course, the other thing as well is that there may be some new features that I can make use of there, and again, let me know what's there if so. I haven't paid huge amounts of attention to the new features in FM20 because I always knew that it would be at least sort of February, March before I played in it, so I didn't want to get too excited. I know Club Vision, I think, is the big key one, isn't it? But it's something that I feel it's not going to change a huge amount for me in the game that I'm going to be playing, because once I get promoted a couple of times with a team, they're not going to sack me if I miss one of their targets, are they? Or at least I hope they're not. It wouldn't be very realistic. Oh dear. Matt Jones, I've noticed that a lot this season. I don't know if there's anything I can do about it. It's just, and it's not just him either. It's all the keepers. They just don't move. That's right by him, and that kind of thing happens all the time. That's not just a one-off. That's the kind of goal that I've been conceding a lot this season. You can see why I'm kind of not bothered about the season now. We're not going down. We're not going up. So these games, in terms of the actual score, I don't care. I'm just thinking about the way that the tactics are playing out. And what I'm noticing is that I'm not really seeing enough at the moment. Maybe I do need to play on a higher level of detail to really get the most out of it. At this point of the game, I tend to start thinking about just players' conditions. Certainly if they're getting to 70 or below, I'd like to generally try and change them. The other thing is people who are anxious, I'll often think about substituting them. If I was really bothered about this game, I'd probably be thinking about taking off Akinola for Ruben Lazarus and or bringing on Biggins Townsend for Whitcomb, but I'm not particularly. And these are, generally speaking, this is my first team at the moment, so I think it's worth seeing out the game, unless I have any major problems with conditioning. As you can see, I would always usually have my team here. This has not been the best game to do this with because it's not been full of incidents, so I'm going to be a bit more attacking. Long has the ball there, and it's another long shot. I mean, it's long shots galore in this FM20. I think that's just this FM19. I think that might just be a match engine issue. But if there is something in my tactics, perhaps maybe I should be pushing out more, pressing more. If there is something in my tactics that's causing a lot of long shots to be scored, then please do let me know. But I can't think of anything that could be other than just a combination of poor goalkeeping and a match engine that overpowers long shots. As I say, this hasn't been the best game to do this with, but I hope that particularly my pre-game explanation of my tactics might have given you enough to really think about any advice you can give me. What is going wrong with this tactic? What can I improve with this tactic? It's obviously not dreadful. I mean, the fact is, it got me up 2 divisions, and then a similar tactic got me up to the rest of another division. I've completely messed that up because I wasn't concentrating. I know what I did wrong there. I wasn't concentrating. Don't worry about it. As I say, this season is a goner. I think this game is a goner now anyway, so don't worry about that. Please do let me know if you've seen anything in those tactics. As I say, for the moment, I'm not interested in the players. I'm interested purely in the tactic, because the tactic is something that I will probably be using in a very similar way in my next game. I think at the lower levels, just very simple tactics do work the best, and that means generally 4-4-2. So it probably will be starting with a very, very similar tactic to this. So if there's anything you've seen that makes you think, this could be better at this level, this could be better, then please do let me know. I do know that there are some issues that are specific to this game, and that will be slightly different in FM20, in which case fair enough, but I think I'd still want to know if you've seen something that's obvious. I've said before, tactics wise, I'm really not very good at this. I don't really understand the language of it. Like I prefer the sliders. I know they weren't realistic, but I always preferred the sliders because I could just make sense of what they meant. Whereas for some of these, I don't really know what they're trying to do. I get the basic idea, for example, of a pressing forward, but what I don't really understand is the way that it then affects the rest of the team, and it doesn't seem to be quite as consistent as I would like it to be with that. And again, that might be more realistic. You tell me. I don't know. But either way, that's something that I know is a bit of a weakness for me. It's just using this new tactical engine. When I say new, it's not that new, it's quite old now, but I don't think I've ever fully got to grips with it. Um, but yeah, if you can see anything, we're obviously on a pretty bad run at the moment, so there's obviously something going wrong with my tactics, I think. If you can tell me what it is, please do. I will be back tomorrow, probably with another one. If ideally, I would like to see just a few comments about anything that you've noticed. Just let me know what you think, what I could do better, what I could improve on, and it may well be that I'll just do the Trafford game tomorrow, because as I say, I am quite busy at the moment. I'm not going to have time to do a huge amount of playing this week. If I'm still playing this game at the weekend, then we will move into the next season. I would think if the update for FM20 is ready by the weekend, it may well be that on the weekend I will start that game in the in a Southern League, which will be starting fairly soon, certainly, and possibly at the weekend. Either way, please do let me know any comments. Anything you'd like to see in the next save, do let me know. I'm still on the lookout for graphics, logos and kits down to level 11 for FM20. So if anyone knows any good ones where the correct logos do match up with the correct teams, that would be fantastic, and I would really appreciate that. In the meantime, I hope you have a really good day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.